Alright, well, you miss a week and suddenly it's so hard to keep up. Not that I didn't not normally tardy in releasing an episode on Thursday, but I really am kind of forcing this one. I just got home from work. It's not too late. It's only about 11, but it's getting to that point where it's kind of like you're at work and everyone's drunk because well, they're acting like it because we're all so tired and kind of out of our minds, and everything's funny and people hold back a little bit less. Um, but hopefully, after a couple weeks, things will clear up. At least I'll get a Christmas break to kind of tidy up the place and do some other work that's not video game related, I guess. Write some music, relax a little bit. We'll see what I have time for. Right, well, last time I talked about playing the guitar, um, or rather before that I spoke about me having many reasons for doing what I'm doing, um, and I was really just going to run down the list. And last week I only kind of gave you half a reason. I told you part of why I play the guitar, which is it's kind of this more common instrument, as opposed to violin and piano, which are a little bit more elitist. The former maybe a little bit more than the latter. Oh man, I'm losing my voice or something. But so why am I playing the guitar? Well, there are still a few other reasons, but I guess the one that's more pertinent here is what was it? All right, I guess. I mean, I told you I took lessons in piano and violin, but really, I think I took lessons for just about everything, and I guess that was always my approach. And maybe in this respect, I very much did what my mother told me to do, and she always had this saying that, when you first start out, you're gonna have to do things the way you're told, other people's way, and at some point in your life, you'll reach this threshold where, well, I guess the classic definition is you're an adult and you can decide for yourself what you want to do. So I was a very by the rules guy, and I figured, maybe this is wrong of me to say, but I like to think that most of us are confident in what we believe in, and we kind of have our own way of thinking and doing things. But I guess as a little kid, I saw myself when I was this 5-year-old little twerp, and regardless of how hard I thought or how often I pondered the big questions in life, it was clear that I was neither smart enough, wise enough, or experienced enough to really know left from right. So I always was willing to listen to what other people had to say. I never necessarily believed that what I thought to myself was correct, and I think it's this sort of introspection that gave me a little bit of an advantage. I don't really know what you want to call it, but I think, was it Socrates or Aristotle? I'm not a big philosopher. I don't think, or I don't speak philosophically a lot, but I think he had this one saying, one of those two guys. I'm paraphrasing here. I know that I don't know, and that makes me better. So really they're saying that the truth seeker should be humble, and I never assumed that everything I learned was right. I was ready to kind of adjust what I believed in and what I saw as right kind of day by day through my experiences, and I think that's pretty normal, but I really took that kind of process to heart. So where am I getting with all this? Really, if they were teachers or mentors or parents or friends or random people or books, authors, movies, music, TV shows, I was willing to put, I guess, my own personal feelings and preferences kind of on the back burner, and instead I really focused on kind of gleaning information from all these sources and kind of spinning together a version of the world that worked, and that, I kind of built myself around that, and that's why I would assume everyone thinks I'm a good guy, because I built myself in the image of what I pieced together, and most people would assume was a good guy. But in that respect, I think I dwelled a little bit too far on that, to that end, where I guess I always listened to what everyone had to say. I was always, if this makes any sense, a little bit too open-minded, a little bit too inclined to, I guess, take on the beliefs of other people. So in the classic sense, or I guess in the more tangible sense, everything I've done in my life has been taught to me, whether it was, my morals through books, or church, or parents, or it was through intelligence, through teachers, or music lessons, sports teams. I just had such a big commitment to stepping over that line into other people's playing field, and living their way and trying it out. And I'll get more into that later. I think that's a really important part of who I am. But I guess it gets to this point where I look at my life and what really is mine, not just a collection of what I've taken from everyone else, but who am I? Someone asked me a question and there was nothing on my mind from my experiences other than what comes naturally. What would I say? And I guess that's a really big reason as to why I've separated myself from a lot of people who can, even if they don't really feel like they're trying to do it or do it willingly, it's really my fault. It's me. It's not you. But it just feels like everything in my life kind of owns a piece of me, and it all feels so poisoned and tainted. I mean, that makes it sound bad, but I mean, it comes to the point where I need to kind of quiet everyone down, because I've been listening so intently, and just be by myself and do something that's just me. And I mean, maybe in this respect I chose to grow up differently, but it comes with its own set of issues. It's not all fun and games. So I picked up the guitar because it's, well, specifically electric guitar here, because it's not a classical music instrument. It's not something I've been taught, and no one's ever really told me how to do it. And I mean, despite my struggles, when it comes to this point here, I know myself. I know that all those things I did were always somewhat for other people, but this I'm doing for me and for no one else. And that feels really different. It's been a few months now, and I'm finally, it even feels too open for me to say it out loud, but when I come home, I actually kind of feel like playing the guitar just for fun, because I want to, not because I have to practice or perform somewhere or get something done for somebody else. I'm doing it because I want to, and I've almost never done that in my entire life, and I mean, it's a bad thing, right? So as much as I've spent my life, I guess I would give the edge to music. I probably spent the majority of my time playing music. It just feels too kind of crushed and cramped and forced onto me. And now that I can kind of push everything away, I mean, this is the first test to going on to fulfilling my dream. If I fail this test, there's really no point. I'm playing this guitar to see if I really love music, and I feel it just a little bit, and it's taken a few months just to get a tiny bit of that feeling. Anyways, running out of time, so see you next week, and I guess I technically gave you guys a quote in there, so see you later.